Hello. I'm feeling pretty good today. This is the same day that I responded to Dad's email. So today I'm going to read Job as I fire up my laptop here. And per Purple Tiger's comment, I'm only going to read chapters 1 through 3, and then 38 through 42, I believe, are the ones that I've got downloaded on here. I didn't really read as I was downloading the chapters. I just kind of tried to do it without looking. I don't like spoilers. I like to be surprised. I like my reactions to be genuine, which is also why I try not to play them up so much, and sometimes they're just boring and I don't react at all. And that's honest. So let's begin chapter 1 of Job. There was a man in the land of Uz. I don't know where that is, or maybe it's Uz. Just makes you think of the Wizard of Oz. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was blameless and upright, and one who feared God, and turned away from evil. The Hebrew word rendered God is Elohim, so he feared that aspect, I guess, of God specifically, and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His possessions also were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the children of the East. Well, did he write this part? His sons went and held a feast in the house of each one on his birthday, and they sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. It was so, when the days of their feasting had run their course, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and renounced God in their hearts." Job did so continually. So I guess the point here is that Job is making offerings on their behalf, which, does that work? Why would God accept that? For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and renounced God in their hearts," and he does so continually. He's always looking out for them, basically. He's supposed to be a really good guy. Blameless and upright, feared God, turned away from evil. Those are all supposed to be good things. Okay? Now on the day when God's sons, I would be afraid of this asshole God too. Now on the day when God's sons came to present themselves before Yahweh, Satan also came among them. Yahweh is God's proper name, sometimes rendered Lord, all caps, in other translations. Yeah, proper name. He has a million different names, but you want to call him the one true God. Okay, yeah, sure. I could just give him my own names. Dog shit is God's proper name, sometimes rendered Dookie, all caps, in other translations. Why not? But I won't. That's immature. Takes away from the whole argument. All right, let's go on. So, on the day when God's sons came to present themselves before Yahweh, Satan also came among them, and Yahweh said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, "From going back and forth in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." Yahweh said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? For there is no one like him in the earth, a blameless and an upright man, one who fears God and turns away from evil." Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Haven't you made a hedge around him and around his house and around all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But stretch out your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will renounce you to your face." Yahweh said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only on himself don't stretch out your hand." And behold means look at, take notice, observe, see, or gaze at. It is often used as an interjection. And I'm sorry if some of these footnotes seem familiar. New book of the Bible, new footnotes, even if they're ones we've heard before. It's fine. I'm okay with reading them again, because people watching these videos might not be watching them in order. On the day when God's sons came to present themselves before Yahweh, God's sons? Does he get around? Does he have a lot? Does he have a family? It was just Jesus, right? That's what we were told, but I guess, one of the other gods that Yahweh was pasted over, maybe he had a family. Maybe this is Kronos. I don't know. Sorry, I don't mean to. Well, I do. It's a stupid bullshit religion, and it's so obviously just cobbled together from other parts of mythology. It's terrible. It's a terrible god in, literally every sense. All right, and so Satan just comes up with the bros "Yes, I'm one of you. Hello, Father." And God's like, Where have you come from? Like, does God know that this is Satan? Presumably, right? Yeah, like he does, like, because he's all knowing, supposedly. He gets a lot of shit wrong for being all knowing, I gotta say. He gets his own facts about himself wrong. He's a stupid, he's all knowing fucking thing. Whatever he knows, I don't want to know it. It seems to make you stupid. I didn't know such a brain virus was possible, but here we are. We were so busy protecting our computers, we forgot our brains. What a fucking nightmare timeline I live in, man. I'm assuming God does know. And so he's like, what would change Satan's mind? Look, Satan, this guy loves me. And Satan's like, well, yeah, you gave him everything and you protect him all the time, which, fair. And God's like, all right, well, safety net's down, fuck up his whole life. I've been protected it this long, but it means nothing to me. That was just for him. Now fuck him up. Satan, do your worst. I want to see this. Proof. An orb. Oh, it's dust. I can literally see it. There is sunlight floating like right down in front of the camera, so. Guys, that was the God. Oh, he's back. The angels are here. I'm really glad that this is happening in my video so you can see how fucking bullshit dust is. Because if this happened in someone else's video, like a Christian when they were reading through the Bible, they might have pretended that shit. You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out. Do not let them trick you. If they claim to have proof of God, ask for it. They don't. They can't. He's not there. And so supposedly all loving God says, go ahead and fuck this guy's whole life up. He's my friend, but you have a point to make, and I will not let you challenge my pride, Satan. I must show you that I am right, and he loves me no matter how badly I abuse him. Oh, but don't actually hurt him himself, because, like, if you, like, I don't know, twisted his neck until you demanded that he gave me up or something, maybe he would. I don't know. Is torture not allowed in this competition? Oh, yeah, that's God's mercy. He won't torture Job himself. He'll just remove all of his reasons to live except God. That sounds like an abuser to me. I don't know. Oh, wait, yes, I do. I was abused. It is an abuser. So Satan went out from the presence of Yahweh. It fell on a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house that a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans attacked and took them away. Yes, they have killed the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, the fire of God has fallen from the sky and has burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, this seems like a bad time, but the Chaldeans made 3 bands and swept down on the camels and have taken them away, yes, and killed the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking... Sorry, I've relied too much on the rule of 3s. I didn't expect the 4th. Guys, the Bible is funny. The Bible is a fucking comedy. Don't live your life by a comedy, please. Okay, so while he was still speaking, there came also another and said, your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell on the young men, and they are dead. I alone have escaped to tell you. Then Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell down on the ground and worshipped. He said, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked will I return there. Yahweh gave and Yahweh has taken away. Blessed be Yahweh's name. In all this, Job didn't sin, nor charge God with wrongdoing. But did Job know that God was up there, like, directly doing this just to prove a point? My positive takeaway from this chapter is appreciate what you have, because you were born with nothing and you'll die with nothing, basically. Like, the point is to enjoy these things while they're here. But what this story doesn't take into account is that Job's family is now gone. He can no longer enjoy them at all. His life is forever, like, worse, significantly, because of these actions. Yes, he'll die, like, without, you know, the things he had, but his life is worse now. He's gonna have a much shittier time while he's here. And he's thanking God for giving that to him, for ruining his life for no fucking reason. Thank you, abusive daddy. May I have another, please? Oh, please bless me with another family that you might take them as well when they annoy me. Oh shit, that's it. He was always making sacrifices for him and shit, and they were always just, like, taking him for granted. He's glad they're gone. He's like, my prayers have been answered. And Christians, if you think that's actually what's happening here, that's a much worse lesson. Stop praying to your God to kill people. Stop being happy when he kills people. It's fucked up. I'm taking a bold anti-murder stance here. You're like, it's not murder, it's killing. It's murder! Stop justifying it. That was chapter 1. I feel like I just breezed straight through it. Haven't had a short chapter since Genesis. Refreshing! Oh, and Purple Tiger. Thank you for recommending this. This is a really stupid fucking story. And the moral that they try to push is so obviously, like, unhealthy. I don't know. I'm curious how this one ends, so I'm glad we're skipping out all the bullshit. Thank you for that. I'm not trying to rush too much, but also, like, I could be doing other shit. So I'm gonna read a little bit faster. But I will try to make sure that it all comes through clearly. I don't want to rush. Just want to be a little faster. So this is World English Bible, Job chapter 2. Again, on the day when God's sons came to present themselves before Yahweh, Satan also came among them to present himself before Yahweh. Yahweh said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered Yahweh and said, "From going back and forth in the earth and from walking up and down in it." And so I guess that's like their little exchange so that God is like, oh, you're Satan. But I'm also curious, walking back and forth, crawling up and down in the earth, like, is it saying that he's snakes and he's worms, or he was the Garden of Eden snake? Because that wasn't established back then, and I'm wondering at what point it was introduced, whether this is the introduction of it or probably just a reference to someone else saying it earlier. Not that it matters much, I'm just curious. I like to get my facts straight, even if the facts are people believe stupid shit. Yahweh said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? For there is no one like him in the earth, a blameless and an upright man, one who fears God and turns away from evil. He still maintains his integrity, although you incited me against him to ruin him without cause." Satan answered Yahweh and said, "Skin for skin. Yes, all that a man has he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will renounce you to your face." And so, see, he's like saying what I was saying earlier, and this is supposed to be like proof that if people are saying what I'm saying, that they're just wrong. But like, I'll have more to say depending on exactly what horrible things they're about to do to Job and how he reacts and what they say about it. Let's see. Yahweh said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your hand. Only spare his life." So still, like, you know, Satan could say, like, well, he knows he's not going to die, so he's still safe, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe that'll be in chapter 3. So Satan went out from the presence of Yahweh and struck Job with painful sores from the sole of his foot to his head. Okay, sorry, no. Struck him with sores. For a second, I thought he was striking him, like Satan just went out and started kicking Job. And I was like, oh, damn, it got personal real fast. But no, he just gives him a mysterious illness. That's much better. He took for himself a potsherd to scrape himself with, and he sat among the ashes. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still maintain..." Wait, his wife? Did Satan not kill the wife? Okay. Well, then his wife said to him, "Do you still maintain your integrity? Renounce God and die." But he said to her, "You speak." I'm sorry, woman in the Bible. You tried to say the right thing. You tried to be reasonable. You know what that gets you. But he said to her, "You speak..." With the voice. "You speak as one of the foolish women would speak. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil?" Like, yeah, just because he's abusing us now doesn't mean we should leave him. In all this, Job didn't sin with his lips. You should try it sometime. It's pretty fun. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that had come on him, they each came from... The phrasing, I'm sorry. I'm a 12-year-old in a 32-year-old body. I can't help it, all right? I was abused. All right, let's go. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that had come on him, they each came from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. You know, I was just watching DBZ last night. It was after the Cell games and Goku was in the other world. I'm pretty sure these guys were at the tournament. Or maybe that was just different guys in robes with goofy names. One of them was a purple dog man. I remember that. As a kid, I was really annoyed by Grand Kai's design and attitude. Where I am today, like, so envious. I wish I could be that guy. Like, I tried taking it seriously and it was still ridiculous, so I may as well lean into the comedy. They made an appointment together to come sympathize with him and to comfort him. When they lifted up their eyes from a distance and didn't recognize him, they raised their voices and wept, and they each tore his robe and sprinkled dust on their heads toward the sky. So they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Job didn't sin with his lips. His 3 friends... How does he still have friends? Satan, you're doing a shit job. You don't know how to ruin a man's life, Satan. Weak effort. You probably killed all the people who didn't care about you. You were doing him a favor. His prayers were answered, I'm telling you. When they lifted up their eyes from a distance and didn't recognize him. Okay, but now his friends are repulsed, not because Satan went for the friends directly, but because they made him have a disease or look like he had his sores. They gave him sores. Satan gave him sores so that all of Job's friends think, oh God, that guy's so ugly. He's probably not even Job. And then they cried and they saw that his grief was very great. So like, Job is suffering as a result of God's bet. Job is sad. Job misses his family. Job wishes his friends didn't think he was so revolting. God and Satan were having a bet. God bet like, hey, check out Job. Isn't he great? He loves me. And Satan was like, yeah, but he only loves you because you give him everything. And God was like, all right, fuck him up, Satan. Here's the keys. And Satan was like, all right, yeah, I'll fuck him up a little. And God was like, see, he still loves me, because Job was like, he doesn't know anything but God, I guess. I don't know. He's probably just a fictional character made up to prove this point that no person should actually want to be like. And then his old reasonable wife told him to stop, and he was like, no, foolish woman. And God was like, yeah, that's my boy. And Satan was like, man, I just can't get, these guys are crazy. Satan was like, that should have worked. Oh my goodness, this is psycho shit, man. What the hell? I thought it was bad where I come from. So after this, Job opened his... Oh, right. So last we left off specifically, Job is sitting on the ground in grief for like 7 days and nights while his 3 friends who have traveled from afar to visit him are like repulsed by looking at him because he's covered in sores that Satan gave him. And he's in despair. He's very sad. He's depressed. Despite his faith, he's depressed? Huh? Whoa, wait, what? That could happen? Where's God? Oh my God. What good thing did God do for Job? Shut up, reasonable woman. You're stupid. I'm gonna go sit alone for like 7 days in utter grief while my friends kind of watch me with pity. Praise God. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. Job answered, let the day perish in which I was born, the night which said, there is a boy conceived. Let that day be darkness. Don't let God from above seek for it, neither let the... I'm sorry. I didn't realize Job was going to have a speech. I'm going to have to read this one in like a normal voice so that I can get through the whole thing and try to process it. Let the day perish in which I was born, the night which said, there is a boy conceived. Let that day be darkness. Don't let God from above seek for it, neither let the light shine on it. Let darkness and the shadow of death claim it for their own. Let a cloud dwell on it. Let all that makes the day black terrify it. And as for that night, let thick darkness seize on it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Behold, let that night be barren. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it who curse the day, who are ready to rouse up Leviathan. Let the stars of its twilight be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the eyelids of the morning, because it didn't shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor did it hide trouble from my eyes. So he's cursing the day on which he was born? He's telling it to die because it failed at keeping him in his mother's womb, which I don't think prevents your birth. I think he just would have been born the next day. But I'm no expert. It's got doors. You gotta unlatch them. It's only one guy's got the keys, and he's not home here all the time. Nor did it hide trouble from my eyes. And I don't know. Isn't this blasphemy? Cursing a day that God made? Cursing the day you were born? Like, he's basically saying, I wish I wasn't born. Is that not blasphemy? So is Satan winning the bet here? I don't know. Let's see. Well, Job goes on. Why didn't I die from the womb? He wanted to... I've had thoughts like this too. Like, it would have been better if I just died young and innocent before ever experiencing any hardship. Because the shit that came later and the guilt associated with it that they tried to pin on me is impossible to live with. What they want you to live with is impossible to live with. That's why they're all miserable, but they have to wear this happy mask so they can convince you their faith is actually a good thing, when it's the reason they're horrible people and they're like abuse victims. They really are. They're victims of abuse, but they're perpetrating it. So I don't feel bad for them. I want them to stop. They're victims of abuse that they imagine. God's in your head and you let him abuse you. Why didn't I die from the womb? Why didn't I give up the spirit when my mother bore me? Why did the knees receive me? Or why the breast that I should nurse? For now I should have lain down and been quiet. I should have slept, then I would have been at rest, with kings and counselors of the earth who built up waste places for themselves, or with princes who had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants who never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling. There the weary are at rest. There the prisoners are at ease together. They don't hear the voice of the taskmaster. The small and the great are there. The servant is free from his master. The servant is free from his master? That's not what you believe. You believe in death, you serve your master forever, right, Job? Is he a different type of Christian? What's going on here? Why is light given to him who is in misery, life to the bitter in soul, who long for death but it doesn't come, and dig for it more than for hidden treasures, who rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave? Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? For my sighing comes before I eat. My groanings are poured out like water, for the thing which I fear comes on me, that which I am afraid of comes to me. I am not at ease, neither am I quiet, neither do I have rest, but trouble comes. Damn, man, like, but no, it's not often that I say, like, oh, this Bible passage is pretty good, but, like, this is expressive. This feels emotionally honest, even if it's being put in a situation that makes me very uncomfortable. Like, the rant itself of cursing the day he was born and all this other stuff rings true to me, and it also doesn't ring true in terms of, like, a Christian person, right? Like, they don't think this stuff, right? They think death is, like, you go to heaven? Why would he say all that stuff about being free and being at rest when, like, heaven's eternal worshiping God or whatever? Then Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind, "Who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man, for I will question you, then you answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who determined its measures, if you know? Or who stretched the line on it? What were its foundations fastened on? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy?" You weren't there when God created the earth. You don't know that he didn't. Shut up, creationists. You're wrong. Like, at best, he set us into motion, but I don't think he laid it out like they say in Genesis, you psychos. And so God is being that guy right now to Job. Like, this whole thing is a fictional argument that the Christians wrote to make themselves look good. It's so sad and transparent. Oh, well, the sad part is how far it went and how many people it fucking hurt. Oh, sorry, he's still going. I thought Job was going to reply. Or who shut up the sea with doors when it broke out of the womb, when I made clouds its garment, and wrapped it in thick darkness, marked out for it my bounds, set bars and doors, and said, you may come here but no further, your proud wave shall be stopped here. Well, you didn't do that either, God. The oceans change. This is the problem. The people at the time thought their world was unchanging, but it's not. It wasn't always like that. God didn't make it that way just for them, and God didn't make this one this way just for us. It's one world changing all the time. Not changing because God's here doing anything, changing because natural processes are happening all the time, including us. Have you commanded the morning in your days, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and shake the wicked out of it? It is changed as clay under the seal, and presented as a garment. From the wicked their light is withheld. The high arm is broken. I don't know what that means. But he's still going on like it's the same fucking rant. Oh my god. Is this whole thing his rant? I'm sorry, I guess I'll read the whole thing just so you can get a sense of the magnitude. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or have you walked into the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you comprehended the earth in its width? Declare if you know all. Shut the fuck up, God. You're such a baby. What is the way to the dwelling of light? As for darkness, where is its place, that you should take it to its bound, that you should discern the path to its house? Surely you know, for you were born then, and the number of your days is great. Have you entered the treasuries of the snow, or have you seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the lightning distributed, or the east wind scattered on the earth? Who has cut a channel for the flood water, or the path for the thunderstorm, to cause it to rain on the land where there is no man, on the wilderness in which there is no man, to satisfy the waste and desolate ground, to cause the tender grass to grow? Does the rain have a father, or who fathers the drops of dew? Whose womb did the ice come out of? Who has given birth to the gray frost of the sky? The waters become hard like stone when the surface of the deep is frozen. And no, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I want to interrupt now to say, this is the problem with giving God credit. I mean, fuck. It's like a learning point, right? Because it seems at this time in human history they were saying, oh, like, natural processes happen even though humans aren't making them happen. It must be one super magic human in the sky with magic powers who can make everything happen. That's the only way. Because there's not people doing it. And I'm a person. That's the only thing that does thing is me. God's me, and he does things for me. Yay me. That's your religion. It sucks. Can you bind the cluster of the Pleiades, or loosen the cords of Orion? Can you lead the constellations out in their season, or can you guide the bear with her cubs? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you establish its dominion over the earth? He's such a fucking bully. I hate this guy. Like, you don't gotta make your worshippers, your followers, feel stupid. You took this man's whole life for a bet, you asshole. You're an abusive cunt. He has every right to question whether you're there when you let this happen to him after such a life of, like, nonstop dedication, and it's just all gone in one day in, like, the most horrific manner. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 days. Jesus fuck, man. This is my dad's role model, and this is who he emulated. To the letter. No, not to the letter. He wasn't literally saying, can you lift up your voice to the clouds? No, but I mean, he would quote this shit. Like, it's not that far off. Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover you? Can you send out lightnings, that they may go? Do they report to you, here we are? Who has put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who has given understanding to the mind? Who can count the clouds by wisdom? Or who can pour out the containers of the sky when the dust runs into a mass and the clods of earth stick together? Okay, well, let's go through this in order. Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover you? Yes. Your voice doesn't make that happen, but yes, you can. Can you send out lightnings that they may go? No. God, can you? If we tell you, hey, let God put a lightning strike over there, he won't do it. Who has put wisdom in the inward parts? Who has given understanding to the mind? We evolved it. Nobody did. We did. Humans and nature and the world existence did. Like, not a guy. Not a guy. I sure hope not. He fucked up if he did. Who can count the clouds by wisdom? I mean, we have many ways of counting. Who can pour out the containers of the sky when the dust runs into a mass and the clods of earth stick together? So is he saying, like, who can end a drought with the rainstorm? Because, I mean, that just kind of happens eventually. Like, it's a matter of time. Also, the sun is now starting to get in my face. God's here to blind me. Ah, all the light. I see it, you guys. Satan's a tree out there. It's blocking my light. Now that I've let some radiation into my eyeballs. Can you hunt the prey for the lioness, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in their dens and lie in wait in the thicket? Who provides for the raven his prey when his young ones cry to God and wander for lack of food? So yeah, this whole chapter was God ranting, yelling at Job in response to his reasonable questions after all this lifetime of dedication, and now he's like, God, is this really, like, for real? Like, God's like, how could you even ask that? Are you there? Are you God? No. But, like, God, you know he's just a person, right? You know he's having a reasonable reaction? Why are you being such a dick? Why are you being such a dick, God? That's why I don't think this is God. I don't believe in a God who's a dick. I don't believe in any God. I don't believe our actions are determined by some entity. I think things happen naturally. No one can disprove it. No one has yet. Keep trying, please. Job 39 in the World English Bible. Do you know the time when the mountain goats give birth? Do you watch when the doe bears fawns? Can you count the months that they fulfill? Or do you know the time when they give birth? They bow themselves. They bear their young. They and their labor pains. Their young ones become strong. They grow up in the open field. They go out and don't return again. Who has set the wild donkey free? Or who has loosened the bonds of the swift donkey, whose home I have made the wilderness and the salt land his dwelling place? He scorns the tumult of the city, neither does he fear the shouting of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture. He searches after every green thing. Will the wild ox be content to serve you, or will he stay by your feeding trough? Can you hold the wild ox in the furrow with his harness, or will he till the valleys after you? Will you trust him because his strength is great, or will you leave him to your labor? Will you confide in him that he will bring home your seed and gather the grain of your threshing floor? And see, I like the sentiment, which is like, animals aren't doing this shit for us. Like, it's only because we feed them. It's only because we're nice to them. Like, you know, it's not like they don't worship us. They don't think we're their gods. No. They would kill us and, like, take from us if they could, if it was convenient for them and if there were no consequences. But, like, it's usually better for everyone to work together, even the animals. At least, you know, I don't want to encourage anyone to go playing with wild animals. The idea that they're so, like, that they care about what we think beyond what we do, you know. But the problem is they then give all that credit to God. They're like, no, of course they don't do it for you. They do it for God. So you better hope you're worshiping the right God. It's like, no. You just gotta look at what's happening. You gotta understand the thing itself, the processes themselves. The wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but are they the feathers and plumage of love? For she leaves her eggs on the earth, warms them in the dust, and forgets that thy foot may crush them, or that the wild animal may trample them. She doesn't forget, guy who wrote this stupid book. All right, like, I don't know who wrote Job, but ostriches don't forget that they put their eggs there. It's a calculated risk when animals do shit like lay eggs in all kinds of places. Like, they can't have all their eggs hatch. They can't have all their kids survive. They gotta place their bets. They gotta hedge their bets. They gotta, you know, we gotta expand outward. You can't rely on any one thing to pull through and work for you. You gotta do as many different things as you can. And I don't mean go around having as many different kids as you can and just not taking care of them. Please don't do that. We're not animals. We're not in that survival situation. We shouldn't be. We have the tools, we have the knowledge to be better. People are just scared. They're too scared to listen to reason. Reason is not going to tell you what to do. Reason is just going to help you figure out what to do. Reason is going to help you do things better, more safely, without hurting as many people. We need to replace God with truth as soon as we possibly can. But anyway, yeah, he thinks that they just forget them so that things may crush them. She deals harshly with her young ones as if they were not hers. Though her labor is in vain, she is without fear, because God has deprived her of wisdom. Neither has he imparted to her understanding. When she lifts up herself on high, she scorns the horse and his rider. And yeah, I don't like that God has deprived her of wisdom. Animals didn't have wisdom to be deprived of. Neither has he imparted to her understanding. That one would make more sense, except, like, it's just a matter of time. If ostriches or any other animal is allowed to keep evolving, they'll eventually get smarter, I believe. Like, a lot of them. The ones that are already using their brains to do, like, anything, their brains will probably get better if they can, if they are given the chance, if they're allowed to have that many babies, that many evolution opportunities, and that much time, you know, that many generations. But we're so focused on ourselves, we're killing all the animals and stifling them out. And cockroaches, man, cockroaches might be the winners here. Once we're all dead, they'll scuttle out of the rubble and rebuild. And then they'll find the Bible. No! Cockroach God is even worse. Oh, Cockroach God, actually, if they reinterpreted him and he's, like, real chill, like, just a nice guy, Cockroach God, like, saves everyone. Like, it's not hard to make up your own religion, and this one's really fucking stupid, so let's get some better ones, please. Also, the light is giving me, like, lifeguard nose when it shines just on the tip. God is still going. Have you given the horse might? Have you clothed his neck with a quivering mane? Have you made him to leap as a locust? The glory of his snorting is awesome. He paws in the valley and rejoices in his strength. He goes out to meet the armed men. He mocks at fear and is not dismayed. Neither does he turn back from the sword. Yeah, well, the thing about horses is they know they can take you. They're not scared of you because they've got a pretty good shot against you. The quiver rattles against him, the flashing spear and the javelin. He eats up the ground with fierceness and rage. Neither does he stand still at the sound of the trumpet. As often as the trumpet sounds, he snorts. Aha! He smells the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Why has it gotta be a war horse, God? Why's everything gotta be war? Is it by your wisdom that the hawk soars and stretches her wings toward the south? Is it at your command that the eagle mounts up and makes his nest on high? On the cliff he dwells and makes his home on the point of the cliff and the stronghold. From there he spies out the prey. His eyes see it afar off. His young ones also suck up blood. Where the slain are, there he is. Chapter 40 of Job in the World English Bible. Moreover, Yahweh answered Job, Shall he who argues contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer it. Then Job answered Yahweh, Behold, I am of small account. What will I answer you? I lay my hand on my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not answer. Yes, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind, Now brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you will answer me. Will you even annul my judgment? Will you condemn me that you may be justified? Or do you have an arm like God? Can you thunder with a voice like him? Now deck yourself with excellency and dignity. Array yourself with honor and majesty. Pour out the fury of your anger. Look at everyone who is proud and bring him low. Look at everyone who is proud and humble him. Crush the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together. Bind their faces in the hidden place. Then I will also admit to you that your own right hand can save you. See now Behemoth, which I made as well as you. He eats grass as an ox. Look now, his strength is in his thighs. His force is in the muscles of his belly. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are like tubes of bronze. His limbs are like bars of iron. God, I wanted to take me. He is the chief of the ways of God. He who made him gives him his sword. Surely the mountains produce food for him, where all the animals of the field play. He lies under the lotus trees, in the covert of the reed and the marsh. The lotuses cover him with their shade. The willows of the brook surround him. Behold, if a river overflows, he doesn't tremble. He is confident, though the Jordan swells even to his mouth. Shall any take him when he is on the watch, or pierce through his nose with a snare? I don't think Leviathan or Behemoth are like cryptids. I think they were, animals that were around at the time. Might have been bigger than they are today. Stuff like buffalo, bulls, whales. There are also sea creatures we don't know about. There are also creatures that may have been extinct that we don't know about. I doubt anything like Behemoth, because we have found, dinosaur bones and things from even farther back. But we're still learning, like, maybe in some parts of the world. Who knows? Maybe it just had to be, like, captured a certain way in a certain type of dirt or other substance, and it's out there somewhere. Like, that's the exciting thing, is there are still discoveries to make on Earth. We don't know everything. But he's saying, look at all the nature. That's me. Stealing credit. Classic God. Classic Christians. See, I thought it was going to be more of a conversation. Job was like, I already said too much, man. You're just going to hit me harder. And God's like, you're damn right. Brace yourself like a man, little pussy bitch. Like, why is God such a fucking dude, bro? Why is he such a bully? Why is he Trump?
I didn't say that. I never coerced you to believe my beliefs. I didn't know it was like that.
You did, though. You're lying. Or you're really stupid. Like, that's my best idea of my father, is that he's just so stupid he actually can't understand this. And that's not comforting. Like, I don't know how to fix it if it's stupidity or cruelty. He doesn't want to change. He doesn't understand that there is a problem. More of the guilt tripping, more of the I'm better than you, so you should listen to me. Even though it's just natural processes that he's describing, and the thing he did to Job was direct. Doesn't connect, God. You're just excusing your abuse. You're not teaching anyone anything with this bullshit, other than be scared of you. And I'm done doing that. That was bad for me. and welcome back to Making More Sense of the Bible Than a Christian Ever Could. When we last left off, our antagonist was guilt-tripping Job for having his life ruined and complaining about it. I'm Job. This is about me. Oh my god, he's still going. So chapter 41 of Job in the World English Bible. I like to think that the 30 or so chapters that we skipped were also just God ranting, but I know they probably weren't. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook? Oh yeah, I mentioned him last time. Leviathan is a name for a crocodile or similar creature. Yeah, big water creature. It's basically the, best guess for Leviathan. He was a D&D creature and he was really cool there. Leviathan has been in many things. I think there's a movie about just Leviathan, it's a cool ass name. Leviathan and Behemoth. Like, oh man, awesome sea creature, awesome land creature. There's probably one in the sky that I'm forgetting. Thunderbird, I don't know. That's a Native American thing, I think. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook or press down his tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope into his nose or pierce his jaw through with a hook? And he's saying all this shit like, we might be able to do some of these things you're challenging us with, man. Will he make many petitions to you, or will he speak soft words to you? Will he make a covenant with you that you should take him a servant forever? Will you play with him as with a bird? Or will you bind him for your girls? What? We're still talking about Leviathan? Will traders barter for him? Will they part him among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with barbed irons or his head with fish spears? Lay your hand on him. Remember the battle and do so no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Won't one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that he dare stir him up. Who then is he who can stand before me? Who has first given to me that I should repay him? Everything under the heavens is mine. I will not keep silent concerning his limbs, nor his mighty strength, nor his goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who will come within his jaws? And who can open the doors of his face? Around his teeth is terror. Strong scales are his pride, shut up together with a closed seal. With a close seal? So God, way into Leviathan also. Fair enough. He sounds pretty sexy too, I guess. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. Nice. They are joined to one another. They stick together so that they can't be pulled apart. His sneezing flashes out light. His eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning torches. Sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils the smoke goes, as if a boiling pot over a fire reeds. His breath kindles coals. A flame goes out of his mouth. There is strength in his neck. Terror dances before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm on him. They can't be moved. Oh, are you still here? His heart is as firm as a stone. Yes, firm as the lower millstone. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. They retreat before his thrashing. If one attacks him with the sword, it can't prevail, nor the spear, the dart, nor the pointed shaft. He counts iron as straw, and bronze as rotten wood. The arrow can't make him flee. Sling stones are like chaff to him. Clubs are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rushing of the javelin. His undersides are like shop potsherds, leaving a trail in the mud like a threshing sledge. He makes the deep to boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. He makes a path shine after him. One would think the deep had white hair, because the Leviathan's making like whoosh, like a water trail, I guess. On earth there is not his equal that is made without fear. He sees everything that is high. He is king over all the sons of pride. Why are you telling me this, God? Are you just bragging? You're such an asshole. What is this going to conclude in? Is God just going to keep talking until the buzzer sounds? Is Job going to say, "You're right," the end? I don't know. Is Satan going to show back up? Let's see. I'm really excited. I realize I should probably be prepared for disappointment. Doesn't matter. Let's see what we got. Chapter 42 of Job of the World English Bible. Then Job answered Yahweh, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be restrained. You asked, Who is this who hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered that which I didn't understand, things too wonderful for me which I didn't know. You said, Listen now, and I will speak. I will question you, and you will answer me. I had heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you. Therefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. So he's saying, like, all the stuff I said before, I didn't know what I was saying, even though what he said was completely reasonable and, in my opinion, the most honest part of this entire book that I've looked at. I haven't looked at the entire book. And see, Job is saying, like, yeah, God, like, I needed proof after what happened, and that's reasonable. And God's saying, well, you shouldn't have. You should have just taken all blind faith. And that is unreasonable. And yeah, if God shows up and says, oh, you should have listened, I'll be like, how was I supposed to know? I'm not going to take the Job route and say, oh, now I see. I'm going to say, fuck you. How was I supposed to know, God? Why did you do any of this? Where were you? And of course, that will never happen because he's not there. That's why all this happened to me. It was so that after Yahweh had spoken these words to Job, Yahweh said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against you and against your two friends, for you have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job has. What? Were they even asked? Now therefore... Oh, maybe they were asked off screen. I did skip a lot. Now therefore take to yourselves 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you, for I will accept him, that I not deal with you according to your folly. For you have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job has. So Job has said, you were right for hitting me, I was wrong for questioning you, hit me again. And now God's looking at the others and says, your turn, go on. Tell me to hit you. And here we see baby God withholding communication with his believers. You gotta go through Job. Job actually likes me. Job knows. So Eliphaz the Temanite and Bildad the Shuhite and Zophar the Naamathite went and did what Yahweh commanded them, and Yahweh accepted Job. Yahweh turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Yahweh gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then all his brothers, all his sisters, and all those who had been of his acquaintance before came to him and ate bread with him in his house. They comforted him and consoled him concerning all the evil that Yahweh had brought on him. Everyone also gave him a piece of money, and every one a ring of gold. Literally, kesatah, a unit of money, probably silver. So Yahweh blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 female donkeys. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. He called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Hapuk. In all the land were no women found so beautiful as the daughters of Job. Their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers. After this, Job lived 140 years and saw his sons and his sons' sons to 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. Okay. So the Sabaeans took his kids. So they didn't even die, because I'm looking back at the first chapters now. The oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans took them away. Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell on the young men, and they are dead. I alone have escaped to tell you. So all his sons died in that accident? Or at least the sons that were there eating, I guess, but I guess he had other sons. The impression I'm getting here is Satan didn't do shit. Job still had like his whole life. He lost some sons he didn't give a shit about. That's just less sacrifices he has to make. 7 sons, 3 daughters. And yeah, all his shit got doubled because he took God's abuse and asked for more. Sure. This is a terrible book. Yikes! I mean, a lot of the Bible is victim blaming. Like, that's a key part of the religion. Abuse and victim blaming. And lying. Making shit up and saying it's true. Lying, abuse, and victim blaming are the cornerstones of Christianity. It's in every book I've looked at. It's probably in the whole Bible. I don't know. Maybe there's a few where it slipped through the cracks and they forgot to get too abusive. I don't know. But this is a terrible book. A terrible religion. Please stop. Please end it. I think humanity is ready. We don't need gods. Gods are holding us back. They're figments. They're not there. If they were real, I'd be scared of them too, but they're not. I checked. I checked for some. I'm checking as much as I can for as many of them I can, and I'm finding none. No actual gods. At best, we were created by one, but we have no evidence that they were ever here ever again. I'm sorry you ruined our life for your lie. I'm sorry you ruined our lives because you're too scared to face the truth. That is deeply upsetting. This seems to be a common mentality, and we need to get rid of it. Please. Please, please. So that was Job. I can't say I read the whole chapter, but I did read the beginning and the end. the parts that happen to Job, and wow. And no, Satan doesn't show up. We don't get any resolution on the actual bet. The human audience no longer is supposed to care by that point. They're caught up in Job shit. It was never about the bet. It never mattered. Is that Job playing the long game? He's like, ooh, if I do their sacrifices for them, I'll get the credit. So if God ever does any crazy God shit, he'll favor me like Noah. Like, are y'all just vying to be the teacher's pet so that you don't get abused as hard as everyone else? Because that's not love. Stop saying it's love. Because wouldn't Satan show up and say, see, I was right? Because he did. God had to go down there and rant at him, abuse him, verbally abuse him, until he was like, yeah, I'm sorry that I stuck up for myself. Satan should have pounced on that shit. Satan's sleeping. I hate Christianity. I hope that's not extremist. I hope you see why. I hope everyone hates Christianity who thinks with their brains, who listens to reason. It's a religion of hate. If you let it exist in the world, it's eventually going to hurt you in some way. So I oppose it and the ignorance that allowed it to get this far with everything that I have. Fuck you, God. You fucked up. Just admit it if you're there, but you're not. So Dad, fuck you, Dad. You fucked up. Just admit it. Thank you. And everyone else, thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me. I do want to do stuff like this, though, if it helps other people. Like, if there's a certain chapter or passage or, like, story, and it doesn't have to be in the Bible. It could be something else, too, that you want me to read or dissect or break down or debunk or anything like that. Send them to me. I'll take a look. I'll do a video on it if I like it, and everyone can talk about it. You know, these videos aren't, and this is the way it is, period. Like, this is my perspective. You have your perspective. Let's talk about what we see. It's always going to be a conversation. There's never going to be one person at the top telling everyone what to do. Everyone has to work together. That is becoming obvious. That is becoming undeniable. We got to stop listening to bullshit, and we got to start using what's actually here in the world to make our decisions. Please. Please, please, please. Your religion is one of abuse and it has to stop. I'm sorry. I didn't decide that. I see that. It happened to me. It has to stop, please. So, thanks again, and goodbye.